The continuity of life. The first aspect of the problem, to determine the exact form of genetic material, was not an easy task. For a long period of time, it was common to think that biological materials did not necessarily have to be transmitted between generations. At least until the middle of the 18th century, practically all biologists believed that many organisms, especially small primitive ones, could arise spontaneously from various combinations of decaying matter. The spontaneous appearance of flies from refuse, the observation by Leeuwenhoek of small infusoria arising from apparently clear infusions of hay, and many other observations seem to support the idea that life could arise without the direct transfer of matter from immediate ancestors. It took a series of experiments begun by two Italian biologists, Redi and Spallanzani, to seriously question this doctrine of spontaneous generation. By excluding adult flies from laying eggs on meat, Redi showed that fly larvae would not develop. Spallanzani found that if one boiled sealed flasks of organic matter long enough, the usual tiny animalcules observed by Leeuwenhoek would no longer appear spontaneously. Since Spallanzani's sealed boiled flasks now contained heated or tainted air, the question remained as to whether unheated air would, nevertheless, generate new organisms. The 17th and 18th centuries also marked the beginnings of systematic studies or the classification of biological organisms into separate and distinct species. According to Linnaeus, the founder of systematics, there was a fixity of species so that organisms of one species could only give rise to organisms of the same species. As the science of classification grew, this view became generally accepted among biologists. At the same time, however, the spontaneous origin of organic matter implied a non-fixity of species, and this proved quite difficult to reconcile with the Linnaean concept. Controversy on the subject raged until the 19th century, when the idea of spontaneous generation was finally put to rest by Pasteur and by Tyndall, who showed that putrefaction of organic matter only occurred under conditions that permitted solid particles to enter a nutrient culture. These solid particles were soon identified as the microbes whose multiplication leads to the fermentation of organic cultures. By common agreement, these findings led to the view that, at least for the present, the birth of new organisms arises only through the continuity of life. Have a great day.